year to decide whether you're going to come try to be in Kansas. July of 2025 came, and the Chiefs and Royals is still not decided. We're in the process of blah, 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 all those kind of things. So the state of Kansas came back in, and they said, we're going to extend these for 1 year. So until end of June 2026 is when this thing that they voted in will go away. But multiple of the legislators in the state of Kansas said that's the legal deadline, but our deadline is December 31st this year. We want you to tell us something. We are not going to sit here and just continue to be, led along. Because in the meantime, the state of Missouri this last summer did a similar thing. It's not exactly star bonds, but they've created a couple of vehicles that will help fund stadiums. So we now have true competition between these two states. And that's why Kansas was like, we're not doing this forever. You need to decide now. Well, now is now. Today, there's a meeting of the LCC at 1 o'clock, and Laura Kelly, the governor, has a special announcement at 3 o'clock. So now you start putting 2 and 2 together. And the fact that the Royals are not on this agenda, as Soren reported last week and followed up by a lot of other reporting from people, this is a Chiefs thing today, okay? And our expectation is the Chiefs are going to be at this LCC, and they're going to say yes to the dress, and then at 3 o'clock, Laura Kelly's going to have a thing. Now, I don't know if the Chiefs are going to be, they're in a weird spot because this is not lame duck like the Raiders playing in Oakland and you're moving to Las Vegas, and how you going to finish those last couple of years. Or the A's are moving to Las Vegas and the city of Oakland says, screw you, you go to Sacramento. You know what I mean? It's not like that, but I think the Chiefs want to play this. They love Jackson County, Missouri, and have been there for 50 years. And they don't want to dance on the grave of that. They're in a weird, kind of like the team on the field. You want to win or you want to lose? You want to get a draft pick? You don't want to embarrass yourself last week? They're in a difficult spot. The kingdom covers all the states, but they don't want to today go for the next 4 or 5 years be like, well, we don't like this place. We don't like Jackson County. We like Missouri. I mean, this tenuous on this side of it. They're in a weird spot, and I think they're cognizant of that. But our understanding today is this meeting's going to happen at 1, and if something crazy doesn't happen, Laura Kelly's going to have a special announcement at 3 o'clock that the Chiefs are moving. Our understanding from all the stuff we've talked about is by the Speedway. Exactly where by the Speedway? I've seen multiple things. I've seen renderings of it being on the what you would call the northwest corner of 435 and I-70, just a little bit south of the Speedway on the southwest side. There's lots of green grass.
There's so much space out there they could. But
it's it's kind of where you're going to put it because you got to make parking lots. They're not using grass parking like the Speedway. Okay, Speedway can park a lot of cars, but that's all grass for the most part. So there's who's paying for parking, who's doing, all that kind of stuff. We had heard before it was maybe on the other side of the Speedway, on the other side of Hollywood Casino, back where the RVs would park. There are lots of different things. I think maybe they'll have that worked out today. I've also heard if those things don't work because NASCAR's involved here, they own that property, the France family and all that maybe it would be on the other side of the 435. Over where...
The east side of 435?
The east side of 435. There's space over there.
The Dairy Farmers is?
Well, the Margaritaville is over there. I mean, you think these stadiums... Just get on your Google Maps and look at the Speedway. And then just look a little bit north and see Sporting Park. Now, Sporting Park isn't as big as Arrowhead Stadium, but
the size.
The field is. Okay? So you look at that thing, and it would be bigger, but you could put like 10 of them inside the Speedway. So just think, this is how much space we need for something. There's a lot of room out there to do it, but you got to access roads and all that stuff. So, and this will also include, our understanding is that they will, this means the practice facility will move as well to the state of Kansas. They want all of it, and the Chiefs want to have that somewhere different. That's another activation zone, right? That's a place where you can do something. And all of our reporting is that this would be over at K10 and Ridgeview, basically. I don't know how many of our listeners have had to sit out and watch soccer games for their kids at the Garmin's soccer complex.
It is the windiest place in the Kansas City metropolitan area.
Right there.
I don't know. There's not a hill tall enough in this town to be windier than that place. I'm just telling you, for whatever reason.
It's windy. But
Anyway.
just south of that, there's a lot of space, and that would be a smaller area. That would be an indoor practice facility. That would be a couple of outdoor fields. That would be, kind of like what Compass Minerals looks like, or what Arrowhead Practice Facility looks like now. So, there are other places there that possibly could be a spot, but that's what we're hearing. So they would have a practice facility where they would, I'm sure Clark Hunt's dream is to have it somewhat be like the Star in Frisco, which I know you've been to before. And, and that was years ago when you were there, I think, for the Big 12, and it wasn't quite fully developed yet. I was just down there this past year. It's amazing, all the stuff that's there.
I've been because FC Dallas, bringing up soccer, Deebs, FC Dallas plays in Frisco.
There, yeah.
And my first year doing the Sporting Kansas City games was 2015. That was about the same time as I had gone down to Big 12 Media Days to cover there. And I was like, where am I? I mean, there was muddy construction fields everywhere. And now, the last time I went down there, there's stuff everywhere. Yeah. There's buildings everywhere.
Apartments,
there's
condos, restaurants, activation, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Now, that's their dream, but you don't do that in 2 seconds either, right?
No.
And
that
there's
was over
already
a 10-year period.
There's already stuff out by K10 and Ridgeview. That's where Family Leisure is.
And that big battery plant's going out along K10, which is going to make more and more development happen out there.
All the way out there. There's there's the hotel and convention center. I know we've done remotes there. I mean, there's stuff there. So that's already a place that's kind of going, and so that's where we're hearing that. So they'll have that spot, and that's where you'll go practice and all that stuff, and then you'll go have the games at the other spot. Now, we'll watch and see what happens today. We don't
know for a fact what Laura Kelly is going to say at this announcement, but you're saying put 2 to 2 together. This is what people think is coming.
Yes.
So if that happens, does that mean it's a done deal? I guess let me say this real quick as well. In response to all of this reporting, that Governor Laura Kelly's planned a special announcement today, Kansas City Mayor Quentin Lucas issued this statement. Quote, Kansas City, the state of Missouri, and the new executive team at Jackson County have continued negotiations with our teams through this week. Kansas City and its partners have made compelling but responsible offers north of $1.5 billion with identifiable and backed sources of funds to maintain the legacy of Arrowhead Stadium while updating its facilities to remain amongst the finest in the National Football League in the world. Any decision to depart from such a legacy home would have no reflection on the outstanding people of Kansas City and Jackson County, who for 50 years have given their passion, energy, and public investment into building the Chiefs into one of America's finest sports brands. We'll reserve further comment until we hear from the Kansas City Chiefs. What does that sound like to you when you hear that statement?
We're here. We're not done. I mean, this is...
That's what you took from that?
Well, I think it feels like they're dead. They know
that
the writing's
sounds
on the
to me
wall.
like a guy that's... And I'm not saying this. I'm just saying when I read that looks like a guy that's going, I need to make sure I've at least positioned this to show that it's not my fault they're leaving.
Not my fault.
It's not our fault that they're leaving. And let's also remind everybody what we've done for them for the past 50 years as they're leaving. I mean, when you start saying things like, them leaving's no reflection on us, if they were to leave.
Although the voters of Jackson County did say no to them.
That's true.
And they said no to them in many ways because Jackson County was a mess at the time and literally had to fight among the county executive and the county legislators to get it on the ballot.
That's true.
Okay? So, listen, I appreciate the mayor. And I appreciate what's happening here. And I do believe the mayor has worked very hard to try to get something done. And in the end, this choice is, in my mind, for the Chiefs. This is not talking Royals here. This choice for the Chiefs is, do you want to build a brand new stadium? And now we're hearing not retractable dome, but like dome, which is just fine, whatever. That would, more concerts, maybe a college football playoff championship game. Final Four, maybe a Super Bowl, those kind of things that you cannot have in an open-air place. There's no plan to dome Arrowhead Stadium. The plan is to rip the thing up entirely, have it be a real mess for like 5 years, and try to find a way to squeeze more money out of the fans. Because the reason to do that is to make more suite areas and more things like that. Remember how messy the K and Arrowhead Stadium were for like 4 years during the renovations. It's not a great experience for your fans doing that. So they're choosing, I want a brand new thing that can be a bigger thing that can bring more stuff and they can make more money, all of that. Or put a bunch of money into an old thing and find a way to make more money out of that. That's their choice. And I think we'll see exactly what happens today. I'll be shocked if the Chiefs don't announce that they're going over there. Now, we'll say this as well. They're not playing anywhere till they're playing anywhere. You know what I mean? I mean,
we certainly, if we've learned anything over time, we should know until the ink is dried on a contract and all those things.
How about this? Until
a shovel goes in the ground,
until the ball gets kicked in a stadium. I mean, remember, this is so wild to me. Where did Patrick Mahomes play his first NFL game in 2018 as a starter? They played the Chargers. They played in the soccer stadium. Remember that?
They played it, where the LA Galaxy played.
So, I mean, these things can take a while. So, I mean, that was the Chargers moving.
The Chiefs would be playing there. If they get kicked out of Arrowhead, be playing over at Children's Mercy
Park. I don't think happening. They have a lease that's in place that's a deal, right? But, I mean, Google this one. This was a wild one. I know we have to break, but Carolina Panthers, they're in Charlotte, North Carolina. Just south of there is South Carolina. It's very close.
Yeah,
right?
It's right on the border.
Right on the border. 10 years ago or something, the state of South Carolina said, we're going to build your practice facility down here. They started building it. I mean, it was like buildings were up, and then it all fell apart. And now they don't do that. So, I don't think something like that's going to happen around here. Nothing's real until it's real. But this is what it looks like is going to happen.
Right now, it's in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And then Kansas has the ball, and all they got to do is run out the clock. I don't know what metaphor I'm trying to. We're going to talk about it. I have some thoughts.
They're telling all the people at the Chiefs, turn your phones off. Don't take any calls from anyone today. That's what they want.
Yeah.
Anything comes with an 816 or 573.
Nobody say nothing. Nobody say nothing. We can say something.
Yeah.
And so I got some thoughts. We'll talk about it. We got much more to come straight on the show today. Pete Sweeney will join us, Scott Carroll, Bill Moss, and much more straight ahead. This is New Day with SSJ.
All right, Missouri, you've been waiting, and now your moment's finally here because DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is now live in the state of Missouri. Now you can make every game even more exciting with same-game parlays, money lines, props, and more, all from your phone, all safe, secure, and easy to use. You know Missouri fans know everything about game day, tailgates, noise, passion, and now with DraftKings Sportsbook, you can bring that same energy to every snap, every touchdown, every win. And right now, new Missouri customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. No waiting, no nonsense. Just pure action powered by America's top-rated sportsbook app. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code 810WHB. New Missouri customers bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. That's code 810WHB. The crown is yours in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, physically present in Missouri. Eligibility and restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
Stephen St. John here for QC Kinetics. You know, pain has a way of stealing the moments that matter most. What doesn't matter. Knees, back, shoulder, all of those can take away from time with family and friends. But you could change that in 2026. That's what QC Kinetics is here for. They believe relief doesn't have to come from surgery or pain pills. They use your body's own natural healing abilities to repair and restore what's been lost, helping you move, live, and feel like yourself again. It's time to take that first step, literally, to walk, hike, dance, enjoy the holidays, live without wincing in pain. With QC Kinetics, healing is within reach. All right? Schedule your free consultation today by calling 816-412-6299. Located off 435 and State Line and also in Gladstone. 816-412-6299. And it's a great time to use your HSA and FSA for treatments. Call 816-412-6299. QC Kinetics.
All right, again, the state of Kansas is having an LCC meeting today in Topeka, and it's being reported that Governor Laura Kelly has planned a special announcement afterwards. Quentin Lucas has made a statement, which kind of makes it sound like Jackson County, Missouri, they're still trying. They're maybe throwing some Hail Marys right now.
We've done all we can do.
But also preparing themselves for what many people seem to assume is going to be the news, that the Chiefs will be moving over to the Kansas side, both their new practice facility and the stadium. So, some thoughts here, Todd. I'm going to come across as the biggest fence rider ever right now.
That's
because
okay.
There's an old song by the Rolling Stones from the Steel Wheels album called Mixed Emotions. You're not the only one with mixed emotions. Maybe I'm not the only one. I love history. I love the history of this city. I love history when it comes to sports. I think those things, tradition, those things you earn, you can't buy. If they ever tear down Allen Fieldhouse and replace it with a shiny new building, I don't know what I would do. I would be beside myself, livid. And I think most KU fans would feel the same. They'll never be able to build a stadium with fancy enough suites to make up for what that building represents.
Right.
In my mind. And I feel some of those same feelings toward Arrowhead. Not the same, but some of the same. I don't know if you know, Todd, but I've been working on a book
I heard that.
since April, and it's a book about the history of Kansas City soccer. I'll give everybody, we should have a URL out soon for pre-orders. It's in the editing process right now. But I spent 7 months, did over 70 interviews, read a bunch of books, including Lamar Hunt's biography, by the way. I was very, very fortunate to get a chance to speak with people like Clark Hunt and Cliff Illig for the book. And I learned a lot. And I knew that Kansas City, for example, is the sports architecture capital of the world. Mm-hmm. That Populous is the biggest sports architecture firm in the world. They've got offices in London and Australia. They've got 1,700 employees. Yeah. They've designed every major soccer stadium that you could think of around the world. And it started with the Truman Sports Complex. Mm-hmm. The Truman Sports Complex is where the industry of sports architecture was born. And that is history, right? Like, that is something. And there have been amazing moments in that building. There has been an amazing atmosphere. It is a special place. And I hate to lose that. Now, the other side of the fence for me. I'm also a Kansan. Mm-hmm. I also, of all the places I lived, and I've bounced all over the place growing up, but the place I consider my hometown, where I'm from, if you ask me where I'm from Wyandotte County. I'm from Kansas City, Kansas, and I'm proud of it. And I don't live there now. Some of my buddies from KCK give me grief because I don't live there now. But I'm proud as hell to tell everybody that wants to listen that I'm a dot. I'm from KCK. And when I was growing up in KCK, once the Indian Springs shopping mall closed down, there was no reason for somebody outside of KCK to visit KCK, other than maybe to buy some drugs. I mean, there wasn't a movie theater in that part in Wyandotte County. There wasn't a tourist attraction really of any sort. To see things like the Speedway there now and Children's Mercy Park, Sporting Park, whatever it's going to be called now, to see the area that I am most fond of, which is Eastern KCK, Strawberry Hill area, to see some of the businesses popping up there, things like that. It makes me super proud. It makes me so from a selfish where I consider my hometown to be from, I love seeing it. From a Kansas Cityan perspective, the idea of building something that would bring Final Fours and Super Bowls potentially, and I believe they would get us. I believe we would get a Super Bowl. I think that once we successfully hold this World Cup, and I believe it's going to be successful, I believe it's going to be a smashing success, depending on how
Yeah.
I think for the city, we're going to pull it off. It's going to be great. That's going to prove that we're capable of hosting a Super Bowl. If we can do a World Cup, we can do a Super Bowl. Trust me. And with the Hunt family's reputation, I think Super Bowl's coming. I love this idea. You know what I mean? Like, I just think, I think, in many ways, it's a no-brainer. The logical, practical components to this whole thing seem to be like, you've got to do this.
Yeah. If your choice is brand new stadium in one place and renovated stadium in another place, it seems simple.
And I will say this: I didn't talk to Clark Hunt about this. Mm-hmm. When I got to interview him, I was interviewing him about how soccer came to be in Kansas City and how it grew and all those things. We didn't talk about this, but that's the only time in my life I've had the opportunity to talk, and it was over a Zoom, but we talked face-to-face over a Zoom for an hour, just me and him. Mm-hmm. And I walked away from that meeting with one clear impression, and that was this man, Clark Hunt, reveres his father.
Big time.
I walked away thinking, man, if one of my kids is half as proud of me as that guy is of his dad, I will feel like I did well as a parent, especially because I got teenagers right now. I think I'm the dumbest person in the world. He is so proud of his dad. And then you dive into it, and he pointed out to me, he's like, my dad said Arrowhead Stadium is his favorite place on planet Earth. I think that's tugging at Clark Hunt like crazy.
Absolutely it is. Every time in my opinion, the reason it's taken this long is just that.
Right.
I think
if it wasn't for the emotional stuff.
Because when they chose to renovate Arrowhead Stadium, and they went through that vote stuff and all the conversations were happening before, Clark Hunt, Lamar Hunt passed away in 2006. And that's when they were getting the ballot and all the stuff, the bi-state, remember that's how that vote went down. The thing when they talked about all the renovations, the one thing that Lamar Hunt said all the time is do not change the bowl. It needs to look exactly like it's looked, because that's what he liked. Now, sometimes that tradition goes too far, because as you recall, like the seats
had orange
seats because they didn't have.
You know about this, Deebs?
The reason the seats were orange was the company was making them had a bunch of orange seats. They had a deal on them, and then they replaced them all with orange seats one time. And then
because Lamar wanted to keep them orange. Well, they've always been orange.
They've all been orange.
Yeah,
I mean,
but they weren't orange for a good reason.
Even more ridiculous, the seats at the K were red, orange, and yellow. Whatever. Anyway, so some of that stuff goes too far. But Clark has a lot of his father in him on those fronts. Remember, there are 4 children in the Hunt family. They each own a quarter of the team. It's in a trust, okay? So Clark Hunt, while he's the person you see all the time, he's the chairman. He doesn't own 90% of this team. He's got a brother, David Hunt, who lives in Dallas, who is they're brothers, but the same mom and Lamar as their father. And he runs FC Dallas and all that stuff down there. And then Lamar Jr., who you guys hear on the radio station all the time, owns the Mavs up here. They're half-brothers. They had a different mother. And Sharon Munson is her name. She lives in Dallas. All these people live in Dallas except for Lamar Jr., okay? So their time in Kansas City, I mean, I truly feel like Clark Hunt, he is 59, right? He's a little bit older than me. So when Arrowhead Stadium was built, and that opened in 1972, you're talking about he was like a 7-year-old kid. You all know, if you don't know, there's an apartment inside Arrowhead Stadium. So when he grew up with football at Arrowhead Stadium as a kid. They would come in, they would spend the night there, they would watch the game, they would go play on the field, they'd run around the concourses, all that kind of stuff. So it is more special to him than most stadiums probably are to other sons of owners. I don't think there's another stadium that has the living quarters in it. I've never heard of it anywhere else. So it is a special place to him. And I'm like, that is pulling at him. But there's 4 of them on this. And they got to kind of figure out who wants what. And our understanding is that the family has come to this conclusion that Kansas is the thing to do, build something new.
I did see a thing that Ball Arena in Denver, Stan Kroenke has an apartment there, too.
There you go. Yeah.
There you
See?
go.
Smart. Probably learned it around here.
Stan Kroenke, there's a guy that's
Class act.
moved some stadiums
I'm
around
gonna tell you what,
and made some money.
The people in Missouri love him. No,
They do?
Not really.
Do they?
Nobody in St. Louis does. But
People in North London didn't love him as an Arsenal fan until all of a sudden they anyway.
good. But it's a different place there for him than a lot of places. And he is, I mean, he's an old soul. He has been an old soul his whole life, and he loves Arrowhead and all that. So that means something to him.
And I know this conversation gets brought up all the time too. Why are citizens paying billionaires for these facilities, and why are two sides of a city, on two sides of a state line, competing against one another to give all this money to a billionaire? I'm not suggesting that that's, I don't know, that's right, but I'll give you the answer. And it became crystal clear to me reading this book. I'm not an economist. I'm not going to sit here and tell you what the economic impact is, blah, 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 because you can find any economist to throw any numbers at you that you want about how many millions of dollars are generated and who gets that money and all that. Just using my eyes, Lamar Hunt moved this team to town. 1963 was when he made the announcement he was moving the team. That same year, that's when he went to visit his future wife, Norma, who ended up being his wife for the rest of his life.
That's Clark's David's
parents,
mother.
In Ireland. And he fell in love with the game of soccer. Mm-hmm. The World Cup is coming to Kansas City because of all those things happening. Mm-hmm. Like, if you want to look at the legacy, and if you think about, people have made this comment to me. He doesn't move the Chiefs to Kansas City. What is this town? Omaha?
Yeah, seriously.
And now you might be sitting in Omaha going, Omaha's fine. What's wrong with us? We're great. But tell me there's not a difference, right? Like, tell me there's not a difference between Omaha and Kansas City.
Yeah, there's something about being a major league city with baseball and football, and without those, nothing wrong with it, whatever. But the cost of doing business, if you're one of the cities that's on the fringe of being one of those cities, is a lot of times you got to put your money into the game.
There's only a few cities in this country for whom it means more to the team to be associated with that city than it does for the city to be associated with the team. L.A., New York, those types of cities. Cities like this, what is this town without the Kansas City Chiefs? We'll take a break. We'll talk more about it right after this. This is New Day with SSJ. It was a busy weekend. You know, my son and I enjoyed watching Jake Paul get his jaw broken in 2 places, although it was a pretty boring fight up until that point. But I think at any point, once the punches started getting thrown, it was going to go that way.
That was on Netflix, right?
That was on Netflix. We were flipping back and forth between that and the Sooners game. You guys were blowing it. But
great.
You went to the game. Tell me what it was like.
Oh, it was awesome. It's always great to go back to campus, and it was. I talked about this on the air Friday morning when we were driving down there with Stan and Steven. It can be a little stale sometimes at Oklahoma. They're kind of spoiled, right? Mm-hmm. And there've been a lot of times I've been down there for a game. It's like, oh, right, yeah, you're gonna win or whatever, and all that. They needed to be special, and it was special. It was the crowd was amped. They got in the stadium early. The university did all out. I mean, it was like a night game. They have the cool LED lights that they can turn on and off, and everyone had lights on. There was a drone show at halftime. 50 Cent came out. There's some song called Many Men, I guess, that they've been playing to start the fourth quarter. And the actual 50 Cent walking out of the tunnel, it seemed to hype the Alabama players up more than Oklahoma because Oklahoma was losing time. But they did score like 2 plays later and made the game real tight. But it was awesome. They failed because it's college football. There are 5-6 high leverage plays in close games, and you better make them, and they did not make them. They had a chance to really kind of ice the game before the end of the half, and instead of going up 20-7 or 24-7, it was tied at 17-all because of it. Dropped pass, a dropped punt, a pick six, and just things like that happen. And it was interesting as the traffic was a bear, listening to callers on the post-game show after. They had all the answers.
Yeah.
Fire all the assistants.
It comes down to 5 plays or so unless you're James Madison or Tulane.
Well, exactly. Exactly.
Do you have any issue watching that and going like Notre Dame should have been in there? You know what I mean?
Listen,
like this,
I think it was a really bad year that 2 of those teams got in. I think a group of 5 or whatever they called them now, 1 is fine, but 2 made it because Duke beat everybody in the ACC. I mean, at the end, they ended up winning that league, and they were bad. They had 5 losses. I get it. Yes, Notre Dame is better than James Madison. Yes, absolutely. You know what? Missouri is better than James Madison. Vanderbilt is better than James Madison. And Tulane probably. My real problem with the Tulane game was they literally scheduled a rematch of a game that was 45-10 the first time. And they said, let's do the same thing. Move it around to somebody else, man. We got a rematch in Oklahoma, Alabama, which was not ideal, but at least that game was down to the wire the first time at a different site. You flipped it, you know what I mean? But we watched Mississippi beat the brakes off of Tulane in September in the same stadium. Now, had a different head coach. Tulane was gone, but it's the same thing. You're going to watch this thing again on purpose? They have a chance to put whoever they want wherever they want, and they didn't do it. But
I do think that this next round is going to be great.
This next round is going to be awesome.
I mean, like I look at every one of those matchups and I go, oh, yeah.
Oh, you're going to watch these. Yeah, you're going to watch these. Now, there's off campus. Now you're at the bowls, all that stuff. And you know what it's like as Kansas fans to travel around in March. It's a burden to go spend the money and go to these places. But you go to a place, you got 2 games. You go to a place. If you're going to follow your team, like you're an Alabama fan this year, and you came to Norman, all right, and you want to go, now you got to go to Pasadena, right? And then that next game, if they win that, it's in Atlanta. Maybe not as far, but, Atlanta's not 1 foot away from maybe you're an Alabama fan who lives in, Mississippi or something like that. You know what I mean? So, and then the national title game's in Miami. So you're going all over.
And do you go, hey, let's save our money and our time off until the next game and hope we make it? Or do you go to this one?
One of my buddies who he was on vacation skiing, and he already had his Rose Bowl tickets, so they're not playing the Rose Bowl, though, because they lost
Probably
game.
sell them.
Yeah, you sell them. You sell them.
Make something.
And it is interesting, so it's going to be Indiana and Alabama in the Rose Bowl. It'll be a great scene. And Indiana fans are as excited as they've ever been ever about football. I mean, ever. About football. So this is really cool for them. I don't think Alabama fans are as excited as they've ever been about Alabama football, but they're here.
Yeah.
And they just won this game on the road. They proved something. And They'll be out there.
Second straight game of crimson and white.
It's
Again, some color. Like
they're very, very similar reds for all three of those teams.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not like, there's a
it's
difference.
crimson. It's real crimson.
Like
KU's colors are technically crimson and blue, but they never wear crimson. They wear red.
And A&M's clearly a darker thing. We were walking around on campus before the game, and you'd see someone with an Alabama jersey on, and they don't. It doesn't say Alabama across front. Oklahoma jerseys say Sooners across front, but it's the exact same color. In Indiana, exact same.
Yeah,
it is like crazy.
Yeah.
And they both in this game, both these teams wore the red helmets, and it was a great look. It was really, really cool and fun until it wasn't.
I hate it. I hate when they both teams wear the same colors. It drives me nuts. I feel like there should be an alternate, soccer guy. Maybe they should be an alternate color.
But they did have.
It's got to throw you off when you're the quarterback and you look back there and everybody's wearing the same color.
Alabama had all white on, so the helmets were the same. Though.
Helmets are the same
helmets
color.
Are the same. So
they looking around back there as a quarterback. That's why I threw that pick six. He couldn't tell which was which.
Threw the pick six because they got him.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get got, and he got in a horrible, horrible spot. And now John Mateer. There's talk. They're maybe far apart on what they should do for next year. He's got a year of eligibility left. That's where we are in college football.
Far apart. We got demands.
On salaries.
Come to Kansas,
Listen,
young man.
don't throw 11 interceptions in a year.
I don't know. Oh, we can have him. Todd says we can have him. We'll take a break. We got Pete Sweeney coming up. We'll talk about that dynamic Chiefs game after this.
What's up, Kansas City? Jake Gutierrez here. If you live in Kansas City, for the longest time, you've been able to wager over in Kansas, but not so much in Missouri. Well, no more waiting. Missouri, your moment is finally here because DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is now live in your state. Now you can make every game even more exciting. That's right, same-game parlays, money lines, prop bets, and so much more, all from the comfort of your couch, all easily done on your phone, all safe, secure, and easy to use. Look, tonight you got the Niners and Colts playing. You want to wager on that game? You're in Missouri? Go for it. Have at it. Lots of fun can be had. And now you can do it in Missouri because America's top-rated sportsbook app, DraftKings Sportsbook, is now live in Missouri. And right now, new Missouri customers can bet just $5